Aaron LaShore with Wave Runner Marketing. I'm here with Wendell Jean-Jules.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we are going over his book, The 7 Common Mistakes That All Coaching Business Owners Make, and what you should be doing. So he's going to give you the rundown. Let's get into it.
Awesome. So first, I guess I'll do a quick introduction. My name is Wendell Jean-Jules. I've been an entrepreneur actually since 2010, which is crazy. But to say the least, currently I own and operate a international business development and full service marketing agency, where we essentially help people start, grow, and scale their business and build an online presence, whether it's using various marketing strategies, whether it's web design, SEO, paid ads, and email marketing, some other marketing funnel type ordeals. And then also we own a LinkedIn automation software and lead gen software that's called Linkotomy, which basically helps you streamline your LinkedIn connections. We are able to connect to 25 people a day, 600 people in a month, 7,200 people in a year, which is huge for any B2B business that's really just trying to grow and scale. It's a great opportunity for that. And then my personal brand, which is I'm a business growth coach, published author, which is what we're about to be talking about today in this book. And also a fractional CMO, and basically an entrepreneur that really enjoys giving back through our Lease Legacy program, which that'll be for a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
And then
so he does everything.
So yeah, I'm a wealth of knowledge, like I said, for the most part, and I don't shy away from opportunities and really just trying to help people as much as we can. Hence, that's how I met my guy Aaron, man. And we hit it off from day one on one of our walks that we were on, and man, it was a great conversation, learning more about what he got going on, which I know he's about to tell you right now. So I'm gonna let him run with it. And there is no competition, guys. You only can be in competition with yourself. He's also in marketing, so by all means, I'm telling you, there's power to partnerships. So I'm gonna let him take it off.
So I learned so much from this guy. The LinkedIn automation is dope. He's not giving you everything. He needs to show you. We need to show it on screen of how this kind of works, but we'll get into it. I'm gonna talk about myself a little bit. Aaron LaShore, Wave Runner Marketing. We have a triangle, so pretty much from the content to paid ads, and then landing pages. That's how we bring you the virality of your business and making sure that it runs through a certain funnel that brings you clients and not just content. We're not only focused on that content. That is a main portion, but in order to conceptualize and bring in clients, you need to have an entire funnel leading them to the right place. So that's in a nutshell of what I do.
I'm gonna throw this in there too. I feel like he's shying away from some stuff too, so I'm gonna throw this in there. So if you're really trying to figure out strategy in terms of you don't know what to post, how to create, like this guy's a creator, guys. Yeah. Like this is what he does. His brain works differently in how he sees things, visualize things, and put things together. So I will also say that as well. So
I'll take that. Creativity is where we thrive at Wave Runner Marketing. So let's dive in. We're gonna do this is an open book test. So we're gonna make sure to open the book up and just wanna go through every single portion of the book and let him kind of explain each portion in detail for you guys. So
definitely. And I guess part of that too, what we'll probably do, I'll probably lead with kind of giving an idea behind why I started this and created this book. Only because I think it's important to understand, like, obviously we don't spend time just to do things, right? At the end of the day, there's always a reasoning or a common goal. And the sole reason why I chose to write this book first, one of many more that will come, is in my field of essentially dealing and working with different entrepreneurs. I found that there's just so many things that, even though I might know because I practiced it so much, that when I meet other business owners, because they didn't go to school for it, or because they never had a business before, or because they never had somebody in their family that had a business, like it just basically became like this became essentially foreign knowledge to a lot of people. And I really wanted the opportunity to put something in writing to, one, establish credibility. Let's be honest, right? At the end of the day, this is years of work that I basically put together to put in a book to really share industry knowledge and really things that you can
give
do.
Value.
Exactly. And that goes a very long way. Also, for those that don't know, I also turned this into a marketing funnel, right, to help also generate business. So selling millions of books is not my outcome. My book is my goal really is to make sure that people have knowledge and the education around how to avoid some of these pitfalls that I see a lot of business owners make. And like Aaron said, we're about to dive into it.
Ready?
Definitely, let's do it.
All right, cool. The first mistake is not knowing your craft. So why did you make that mistake number one? Like, what is the reasoning behind that?
I think as entrepreneurs, a lot of times we have this idea of, oh, like, yeah, it would be great to just start this business or just do this. And sometimes it's really important to just kind of own who you are. And sometimes that takes years. Sometimes that takes you just kind of falling into it and just being like, hey, I've seen this. I've been around this for a while. And I may not be practicing it, but I know the ins and outs of something, right? So as an entrepreneur, I think it's really important that you really do dive in and really own your craft, because that's what makes you profitable, right? I believe God has given us all a gift, right? And that gift is your craft, right? It's something that you can do better than anybody else, right? And even if it isn't better than anybody else, then you know how to structure it and educate or teach or help others in a way where there was no other way that somebody else could do it, because that one piece of knowledge that you may have might be a life-changing moment for somebody else.
Facts.
So by being able to know your craft, it allows you also to be able to position and figure out how you want to market yourself, figure out how you want to grow. It also allows you to really be able to position yourself as a thought leader or as an expert, where essentially as we kind of go through more of these chapters, you're going to realize like you'll be able to do a lot more in terms of provide more for your business, provide more for your team, provide more for your own personal life. So there's just so much that goes with owning your craft. So I think that's number one. Like if you can understand who you are, then nobody can take that away from you.
And one thing that you go in depth and detail is about the credibility aspect. I believe in my head, I thought that he put this as the first mistake because in essence, this book is your credibility. So
it is.
It kind of stamps and gives the reasoning behind why you even made the book is because of mistake number one.
Correct.
To be able to, and then boom, then you're providing that value and showing people that that you know your craft.
Correct. And the other thing too is, let's be honest, right? When I decided to start my business, right, WJJ Brands was, I could have led with, I'm going to start WJJ Brands and lead with that.
I don't even think you said it. Say it again. I don't even think you said the name of your business.
WJJ Brands.
Okay.
Right. So.
.com.
That part. So when you think about, like, for me, let me give the backstory. So in 2019, I got laid off from my job, right? And from previous years before that, I was helping entrepreneurs start, grow, and scale their business essentially by really taking their business either 5X, 6X, 7X, whatever that may have looked like in their business. And I was still working a full-time job while still running a business at the same time. And at that point, when I got laid off, I was like, you know what? I need to figure out, like, am I going to practice what I preach? Because clearly I'm preaching to people that they need to actually, like, go full on, be an entrepreneur, live in their purpose, figure out who they are, how they want to make money, build out these plans, and I wasn't doing it for myself, right? So when that layoff happened, there was something that sparked in me where I had to go back and realize and like take a reflect on my life. Like, you know what? Like, I'm doing pretty well. I have a successful business, which was a different company at the time. And I was just like, the question I had to ask myself was, which I hope you guys can ask yourself, is if I went and asked 5 to 6 different people who you are and what you do, can they actually tell me what you actually do? And when I asked myself that question, I felt like I couldn't really answer that. And
wow, ask yourself, what does Wendell do? And you can't answer that. Okay.
Which is crazy.
That's
because
crazy.
I know all the things I can do, but does what I envision for people to know what I do line up to what people actually see that I do?
Yep.
Right?
That's definitely a difference, and it does have to align for sure.
And that part comes into knowing your craft, right? So when I decided to start WJJ Brands, I actually didn't even launch it as WJJ Brands. WJJ Brands was formed as an entity, but I launched me first, which was Wendell Jean-Jules.
Okay.
And I established exactly what I was, which basically I was somebody that can help you build your business. I was a marketing expert that could help with web design, SEO, paid ads, all these forms of marketing, which I actually had done in my previous roles, in my previous companies, very well. So for me, it was, okay, how do I lead with me putting myself out there so then basically I can pour into the umbrella of the actual business, which meant that I needed to own my craft first so that, one, it makes it easier for people to refer business to you. It's hard. Imagine like, I go and be like, oh, you come to me, you're like, hey, I do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, okay, cool. But then you never tell me actually really what you do. But then somebody comes to me like, hey, I need somebody that does content strategy.
You know,
but meanwhile, I never knew you did anything content strategy.
Exactly.
So
but you know exactly what I do, and you've seen my work, so you know I'm credible in the things that I do as far as in marketing, because we do different things and we do some of our stuff kind of aligns, but you know exactly what I do, so you know when someone asks for this, and same with me, when I'm like, when somebody needs LinkedIn automation, I know who to call.
Exactly. So knowing your craft also means that it makes it, one, easier for people to refer you. Two, it builds brand credibility. And then three, really, it just opens up the doors for new opportunities that you probably would have never thought would have came your way, because you have other people in other rooms talking about you because they know your craft.
Exactly.
So,
I like that. Love it. Alrighty, so we're moving right along to mistake number 2, approaching your business the wrong way. So what exactly is the wrong way, and then how do they fix it?
So the reason why this chapter was the second part of the book was because, apart from knowing your craft, I also believe that you should also plan to see if what your craft is has a market for it, right, at the end of the day. And what I find is that there are some entrepreneurs who get into business, they have an idea, but they don't plan for it. And it's probably a great idea, and they get in, and guess what happens? Like, the business takes off, and they can't even sustain the business anymore. The customer service goes down the drain. They start getting lawsuits. They start getting all these things that start happening that basically impact their business because they never were able to sit back and actually plan, right? And I also feel like, you know, we've heard this term before: if you don't plan, then you plan to fail, right?
7 P's.
The 7 P's, right? And so with that, I do believe that, you know, for us, we always start with strategy before we do anything design, implementation, or really going into any aspect of launching a business, because if it's not trackable, if we can't prove it in some way, then why are we doing it, right? If we can't find a market for it, then why are we doing it, right? And I think because of that, back to my experience when I first started my company, I literally created a business plan from day one, and I did not go into business trying to wing it. I wanted to understand what the market cap was. I wanted to understand who's my addressable market. I wanted to address, you know, in the area that I live, I'm targeting locally, who am I actually going after, right? And is the service that I'm looking to provide a needed service, right? So when I kind of figured out all those things, it made it a little bit more easier for me to be like, you know what? Actually, what I'm about to do is actually about to impact and change lives, help businesses in whatever way that capacity that might look like. So let's go ahead and do it. And that's something I typically, even from a small to high level, clients that come to us that are looking for business development, we have a separate program just for what we call our business development program, and it's basically a 90-day course where we just kind of go through and we help you create an actionable business plan within 30 days or 90 days, depending on obviously your time, right, how long it's going to take you. And we go through each and every aspect of a business plan, from operations to marketing strategies to basically understanding who to hire, at what point to hire them, down to your pricing strategy, down to literally anything you can think about, down to your financials of understanding your profits and loss statements, your income, which is your income statement, your balance sheet. And then literally we go through all these things to really help you understand the overall picture. And we've had clients literally go through it and realize, like, there's no money in this. So why am I going to continue to invest thousands and thousands of dollars to try to do something that might not yield you the outcome that you're looking for, because either the addressable market's not really there, the price point of what you're trying to charge is not really there. So a lot of times it's really important to understand, and even down to your SWOT analysis. Which I'll let you talk about that a little bit.
That's the knowing your time, basically. Is that what we went over, where you basically plugged in knowing exactly how much your time is worth? Was that?
So that's a whole different one.
Okay.
But the SWOT analysis is your strengths, opportunities, and weaknesses, and threats. So that in itself is really important, because by understanding your strengths, you know, okay, I can compete, you know, this competitor that's down the road. By understanding your weaknesses, you also know, okay, maybe if this is a weakness, maybe I can hire somebody that can offset that weakness. So then now we can add more value.
Exactly.
And an opportunity in that scenario might be that, you know what, after analyzing, doing my market research, I just realized that, you know, maybe there's an opportunity where instead of us just doing one-on-one paid services, now I can offer a subscription model because nobody else is doing that, right? And then the threats could be that, you know, anything that's happening in the government, you know, president might put something out there and say, you know, at the end of the day, you know, all consultants need to abide by this new law, right? And that changes the entire industry. So those are all threats that could happen in your business. So it's important to be aware of that, down to even trends. Trends can also be a threat, right? We got AI happening, right?
It's a threat to everybody.
So
to you, to us, to everybody, but
so that could be a threat, right, to your business. So ultimately, these are all things that you just kind of have to be aware of to know, like, hey, is my business possibly going to last in the next 2 to 3 years? And also, which I feel like a lot of businesses miss out, is if this is the scenario where my business might only last 3 years, maybe I grow in 2 years, sell it, right? So what's your exit strategy? And if you don't have a business plan or a game plan behind that,
what that is,
then guess what's going to happen? You're probably just going to dissolve the company and then walk away, and you could have actually made money off of the business too. So these are all things, right, that are all circumstantial to being an entrepreneur and a business owner, understanding the depth of really building something that you want to last, but also be able to get out of whenever the time is right, if there's a time that you want to get out of it.
And just thinking about the different weaknesses, you helped me realize that I need a rebrand, and that's kind of where we're at now. Wave Runner Marketing is going through a rebrand. We actually have our We actually have our brand identity all already set in stone. I had 2017 is when I first created my logo, so I'm 31 now. It's 2025. So think about my mind in 2017 versus now. And I've always been into marketing for about 12 years, but I have a different mindset, different training. So I corrected mistake number 1. I've corrected mistake number 2. And mistake number 1, I got my certification in digital marketing and e-commerce. With mistake number 2, I ended up rebranding, just doing a whole rebrand, we're doing a whole new website. So I've utilized this book as a checklist for my business. So he's helping me out, marketer to marketer. He's helping me out and helping me build my business to be better.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
And also the other thing too, I'll mention for you, and even though like, you know, you can probably read some of this stuff in the book, like you're gonna develop new ideas. And even for him, like there's certain things I did, like he came up to me, he's just like, hey, you know, I'm trying to figure out this game plan and this strategy and this and how I'm gonna formulate my services and pricing. And for me, like my biggest thing is like, I just need you to think about it and figure it out, right? At the end of the day, and if you need somebody to help you and coach you through it, and obviously we're here to do that. I'm here, he's here to do it in whatever capacity it is in your business that you need us. But the main thing is like, you have to have a plan, right? Or else you're just gonna be spinning the wheel the whole time, and you don't want to do that because that's probably not the best way to run a business.
When's the last time that you even looked at your business plan? When's the last time you looked at it?
Yeah, so typically I try to review my business plan every quarter.
And then have you revitalized it, like made any changes?
Yeah, so definitely. So the importance of a business plan, in my eyes, is that it sets the foundation, right, of your business. It's easy to get distracted by new shiny toys or new things that come in your way. But again, back to owning your craft, if you understand that, okay, this is my book of business, this is how I do business. If other opportunities that are coming to you that doesn't even align with where you're trying to go in your business, and you try to take those opportunities, then guess what? It's going to impact your business on the back end, which then obviously you might now start pouring time into other things because you think like, oh, this is the best thing, but really it's not, because the thing that you should have been focusing on, you're not really focusing on it because you just saw something that's shiny because it screams like, hey, I'm gonna make all this money, right? So I think part of that is really, the business plan really does give you that idea around, hey, this is my game plan, this is my projection, I wanna make X, Y, and Z, I wanna, you know, once I reach this level, I wanna hire this many people. Once I, you know, invest in marketing here, I know how much my ideal client costs, which goes back to, you know, how much is your time worth too as well, because that's important. You gotta pay yourself in your business. Part of a business plan, you got to put yourself in there too, right? You need to know how much you're going to pay yourself.
Exactly.
And then also understanding the structure of your business. Are you going to be an LLC, S Corp, C Corp? Are you looking for investors? These are all things that play into the decision that you have to make, because how you establish your business from ground up will directly impact, obviously, your earnings, your profitability, your hiring, like all these things, right? And sometimes it just gets, the boat just gets missed, right? So it's important that you kind of go and dive deeper into that, because it does help with your strategy.
Okay, I agree. And then also from a standpoint of, because there's going to be multiple people watching this that are in multiple different brackets as far as budget brackets. So do you have like a quick fix for people? Of course, WGJ Brands will be the ultimate, but for do-it-yourselfers,
of course,
people that want to do it with you, and then people that want you to do it for them. Like, what are the quick references for those different things?
Yeah, definitely. So one opportunity for those that probably just trying to figure things out, but they might not have the resources to really make an investment in one of our programs. We actually have a free business plan guide that you can go to wjjbrands.com.
.com.
Yes. And you'll be able to actually download it. You just put in your information, and then the guy will get emailed directly to you, and then you can start filling it out. There's tons of questions on there. There's examples. There's different things on there that can definitely help you and benefit your business. And you can just use that as kind of like a checklist to kind of go through all these different sections. And then if you're finding, hey, I really just want to fast track this and get the support, then obviously you can fill out one of our forms. It'll come to us, and then it will also have a link to our booking calendar. You can set up a strategy call. I believe the first 45-minute one is free. So if you download, there'll be another link that takes you to book another 45-minute strategy call with us. And that's also complimentary. So you can come with your business plan, the guide that we give to you pre-filled out, and then we can just do a high-level overview and just go over that. So, and that will be free of charge to you. So again, there's different ways that we can try to support you. At the end of the day, we understand I used to be a very small business owner, and part of that is just knowing, who you can kind of go to as a resource, and we have tons of resources. So just reach out. Okay.
And then the do it for, so of course the program that they can take advantage of, you do it with them.
Yep.
But is there an opportunity for you to just do everything for them?
Yeah, so if you are a very busy business owner and you just don't have the time, we can definitely support with helping with, basically creating your actionable business plan, and then we would just jump on a call and make it happen. We'll go over everything. We'll discuss, really all the details of your business. Or if it's just an idea and you're like, hey, I have this idea, we strongly recommend that you do it with us, just because then I'm very big on just like educating. And I do believe that once you learn something, you can apply it to everything else that you want to do. So this business venture doesn't end up being something that you want to do, but guess what? You gotten the knowledge, you know how to do your own business plan, you know how to understand your financial pro forma, you know how to essentially plan for building and investing in your marketing division of your business. You know how to do all these things that now literally you can branch off and do your own thing, right?
Yep. You can package it up in WJJ brand or WAA brand.
Yeah, hey, that part.
And then why should they choose WJJ Brands over anybody else?
Honestly, the biggest thing for us is that we're not just a marketing company that is just here to be cookie cutter. We generally believe in strategy. We lead with strategy first. Even in our initial services, any services that you choose to opt in with through us, like we want to take a deep dive into your business before even making a recommendation or even going into building essentially your marketing strategy or your marketing plan within that sector of your business. So we're here as your extended arm. Every client, for the most part, I would say that has worked with us, they generally feel like we challenge them in a good way, not in a way where we're like, hey, you're completely wrong, but we challenge them in a way where we give them a different perspective that otherwise, if they went to another company, that company would have just been like, oh yeah, here's ACO, that's what you're looking for, here's the cost. And we're going to be very honest with you at the end of the day. Like, we're not going to put you on a path that we feel like it's just going to take your money, but at the end of the day, it's a path that actually makes sense for you based off where you are. If you're small and you're just trying to start, I strongly recommend, obviously leads is really the most important thing for any business, right? If you don't have enough leads coming in or understand where they're coming in from, then guess what happens? Then you don't have a business.
Extinct.
literally
distinct.
and also for those that don't understand the trajectory of being a business owner, most people when they first start, you put out the concept, you put out the idea of, hey, yeah, I'm a graphic designer and I do logos and I do all these things, right? But then as soon as you do it, guess what? The first couple of people who support you are going to be your friends and family.
Yep, exactly.
Right? So what happens after you exhaust your friends and family? What else do you have left, right? If you haven't been lead nurturing and building your pipeline of leads, then essentially once you exhaust your inner network, you don't have a network to essentially a group of people that you can go to continue to build on your business.
Yep.
And then you're going to be worrying about just word of mouth, recommendations or referrals, which those are not even controllable.
Yep.
Because you never know when a referral is going to come in, and also you never know if it's even a good referral.
Exactly.
They might not even be able to afford your services, right? Then you're going to start doubting your services. You're going to start doubting if you should underprice, your services. So all these things start to happen because, one, you don't have a plan, and then two, really, you just have to, you really just kind of have to figure it out.
You're treating it like a hobby. That's one thing. That was the first. Yeah, that was the first of mistake number 2. You're treating it like a hobby.
Don't treat it like a hobby.
Yep. All right.
Awesome.
So we're moving right along to mistake number 3, trying to be everything to everyone. This one hit me hard because you have to narrow yourself down to a certain niche. But I'll let Wendell talk to you guys about why that's important and why I had to learn that. And we had many talks about this because I'm not trying to do anything and everything. And it's possible, but you want to be known for something.
Correct.
So
100%. So in this particular chapter of the book, we basically address really everything behind just not having to cater to every single person. One being, I think, in my perspective of catering to everybody, it makes it very difficult for you to scale, number one, right? If you want to grow quick, it is important that you kind of get to a place where you really genuinely feel like, okay, this is what I am, this is who I cater to, these are my ideal clients, and then also saves you in marketing dollars. The reason why I say it saves you in marketing dollars is because imagine if you have 20 different industries that you can essentially offer your services to, right? Each industry has different pain points, right? So imagine you're having to create content for each and every single industry, address every single pain point, identify what those pain points are for each and every one of those industries, and then just put marketing dollars behind every single industry. You're going to blow through your whole bank account, literally. And I think part of that, where if you can kind of refine, some ways around that, examples that I've, given my clients has always been that at the end of the day, you've done all this work, right? Over a certain number of years, days, weeks, whatever it might be. And you would have serviced a certain group of people. So if you take a look at your book of business, you, for example, right? If you take a look at your book of business and you're like, okay, I did people in real estate, I did people in construction, supply, and then you take all those industries and you write them down and you say, okay, what do they fall into, right? And from there, it's like, okay, well, real estate, I've also, done people insurance, I've done people, plumbers, I've done this, I've done, and you start putting all those and grouping them together to say, okay, this group of people that I work with is in the trades. This people I work with is in real estate. This people I work with is in the construction space. This group of people I work with is in healthcare. So now you really have 4 different niches of groups of people or industries per se that is more refined and more targeted because you actually have examples, which then also goes back to credibility because a lot of people don't want to work with you if you haven't done anything in their space. So now you can take your examples, your portfolio, and then be like, hey, I'm going after medical people, and we're going to be creating tons of content and building their business marketing structure, and we're going to offer all of these line of services that align to essentially build the bigger picture of how you're going to essentially help them grow, right? At that point in time, guess what happens? You become more marketable, you become more referable, because then now other people are, oh, Aaron, you know, you need somebody, you're in the healthcare space. Oh yeah, I got Aaron. He just helped out this other healthcare company. He just did this great job. And then guess what? The people who also were your clients, those people also now will refer you to other people, because they're already talking to the same people that you're trying to go after.
Exactly. Yep.
So by owning and knowing your craft, it does really, truly help with brand recognition, building obviously credibility, and then really just making sure that people know who you are and how you serve them. And don't get me wrong, there's always going to be one-off, like people or industries, clients that are going to come out and they love what you do, but they just like, hey, I like you as a person, I want to work with you. Can you help me? And if you can, by all means, go ahead and take the opportunity. But just understand that, you know, by being able to niche down, it's really important. Now, I'll use an example. So with Linkotomy, when we built out Linkotomy, the LinkedIn automation and lead gen tool, again, I follow the same, it's everything I'm telling you, I follow like day to day in my own businesses. So I created a business plan. I had people use our software, tested it, built case studies from it, identified who the ideal audiences are, and then on the website, if you go to the website, linkotomy.io, you'll actually see we have use cases, which are all different use cases of how people can use our technology, and then you'll also see who we serve, and there will be 10 different audience groups that basically we serve, from B2B service professionals to basically fractional executives who offer fractional services, and a plethora other individualized segmented groups. And the reason why we did it is because guess what? Their pain points are different for each and every single one, which then if they come to the website, then it's easier for them to know that we serve them. It's easier for them to know that we actually understand why they need us.
Especially if they see somebody that they trust or that they've worked with or things of that nature.
Exactly. And then they probably will see one of the logos from probably one of their other competitors, and then now that triggers certain things in them where they're like, okay, these people are actually credible. Like they actually do what they say they do, and it makes you more marketable.
And seeing a logo from a competitor drives, I believe that could be a good thing, because they're saying, oh, my competitor's using this, that's why. And if they see that they're doing something different and it's working, even if they don't see it and they're wondering, oh, what are they doing different? How are they getting to the customers before we get to them?
Exactly.
And then they know WJJ Brands.
Exactly. So to that point, try not to be everything to everybody is basically the goal here. And truly take the time. I think it's really, really important. I'll stress this a lot. Take the time to understand who's in your pool of services that you offer and how it relates to them, right? Because if you can figure that out, that's what makes you unique in your own business, that other people are, again, gonna be like, hey, I do this, this, and this. And it's just gonna be like kind of reaching for the stars, hoping that you catch something. So yeah, definitely.
I'm still niching down. I'm small to medium-sized businesses, so we're still working on that. But like he was referencing real estate and supply chain and But those are kind of similar, but for the most part, I believe that I will find my direct niche. But I've just been having a lot of one-offs come to me, and I can provide service for. And like I said, we thrive at Wave Runner Marketing. We thrive with creativity. So I've been hit with a lot of challenges, I will say.
Of course, that comes with it too. Yeah. When you don't niche down, you're gonna take on other things, and it's gonna open up.
Yep.
Some doors.
It did open up some doors, and it's also I'm thankful for the challenges because I learned something new, and I learned that maybe one of the one-offs may become the niche. So
yeah. And if you're just starting off, I see both sides of the picture, right? And you saying that I think is a great example. I see both sides where if you can. Like, hey, I got this service, I got this product, I want to go out and I just want to test the market. By all means, do that, right? Because what that does is that you'll slowly realize like there's certain markets that you don't want to do. And the only way that you'll know if you want to do it is to actually try it.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, like there's certain markets that you'll probably be like, I'll never want to do this, but then you do it and then you're like, yo.
You love it.
I love it. They pay me the most money.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Yeah. Why did I avoid this? Yeah. Right? Because at the end of the day, in your core, the thing that you're great at will always supersede essentially really kind of that service level of like, hey, this is a service I'm going to provide you, right? Because you're always going to go above and beyond. So if you're going to go above and beyond, just do it with the intention that you're going to make something big happen out of this. And now that test of going into a market can now become a testimony for other businesses and opportunities that now see you, and they're like, hey, he or she has already taken the pressure off of me feeling like this was like something that could never be done. But then now, because you took on the reins of taking on that challenge, now it created that opportunity not only for you but for somebody else.
Nice. All right, so moving right along to mistake number 4 is charging below your worth. This is something that I myself struggle with in the beginning, and also just not having a. We just talked about this the other day, and some SOPs set in place to ensure that I even like the client or they even like me. You have to ensure those things before you lock something into like a recurring charge of some sort. But as far as charging below your worth, were you ever at a time where you were charging below your worth, or did you, since you had the business plan from day one, you knew exactly what your worth was, or was there a time where you made some changes?
Yeah, definitely. I would say for the most part, based off your mindset, you're always going to charge what you feel like you're worth. And I'll leave it at that. Yep. I think that in itself says a lot if you really dive in deeper into it.
Yep.
Now, I guess the reason being, because when I first started, I was my own individual brand. I was just Wendell Jean-Jules. Everything that I offer under WJJ Brands, that was under my personal brand. But I already planned that I was going to transition that from Wendell Jean-Jules to WJJ Brands because now I already had an identity set in how I was strong in my own personal craft to help my fellow business owners, right? Okay. So for me, I charged, fairly, in my opinion, I felt like it was low, but even with it still being low, I still had people who were like, hey, you're charging, this is too much, I don't know. And for me, it was just like I had to understand that either I was in the wrong rooms or I didn't know who was going to be a great client at that point. But I just knew that if they believed that I could help them, then they would essentially opt in for my service, right? So
what was the turning point for that? Like when did that click in your head from having constantly people coming to you saying your price is too much, and trying to actually like meet them or instead of meeting them, letting them know the value that you're bringing? Where was that turning point of trying to be a people pleaser, a client pleaser, to this is my price, this is the value that I'm bringing?
Part of that is being patient. I think patience comes with that. Also understanding what my sales approach was as well. I was never somebody that felt like I had to pressure you into sales. If you felt like you understood value, then you would trust that we would come in and do exactly what we said we're gonna do.
You don't strike as an aggressive salesman, but
not at all.
You're very calm. So
yeah, and the other thing too, I led with value. I think one thing that is shortcoming amongst a lot of agencies and businesses that I do talk to that had bad experiences with other agencies has been that they just sold them on something, and come to find out when they talked to somebody else, they didn't need that thing. And then now they're pissed off at the first company because they sold and bought into something that they didn't need. But at the end of the day, you came to them for this thing, and because they're primarily a service-based business, that's what basically they sold you, a service. And one analogy I use between how you can kind of identify how much you should charge and when you should charge either more or less is when you think kind of like the supply and demand curve, but I'm gonna go a little bit more deeper into this, right? So I'll use this analogy. So if you have a car, right? And think of the car as your business, right? So you have this car, you're driving, to get downtown Dallas, right? Along the way, you catch a flat tire, right? At that point, you know what the problem is, right? You walk outside, the car's not really moving, like you got the tire light that came on, telling you your tire's going off. And that's how it is in a lot of people's business, right? They have this situation that happens where they know, okay, I need a website, or I need to rebrand myself, or I need to do this, right? Or I need social media, or I need content, right? You have all these things that happen, right? Which, don't get me wrong, then what's gonna happen next? You're gonna do your research, you're gonna be like, okay, where's the nearest, tire shop so I can get this tire replaced, right? Same thing, you're like, okay, where's the nearest graphic designer, or who knows of a graphic designer or content creator, whatever it is that can come and essentially help me with this problem, right, that I'm having. It's a problem that you know because you can see it, right? And there's a lot of companies that are just service-based companies. You come to them with the problem, and they're just gonna charge you, this is the price. This is the price to replace your tire. This is the price to do your logo, or this is the price to do this, right? And to me, that just makes them a service-based business, right? At the end of the day, you're just charging for your service. Now, where we differ is that we like to essentially toot our horns and call ourselves, position ourselves really in what we call a solution-based business. Now, the analogy behind that is, again, let's take the car scenario. If I have a car and now I'm driving to downtown Dallas, my check engine light comes on. Now that's a different problem when you got a check engine light that comes on, because you don't know what's going on. You got sensors happening, going off over here. You have a leak somewhere over here. You don't know what the problem is, right? But you do know that whatever that ends up being, once they identify the problem, they look deep into the engine of your car. Just know that you're gonna pay a little bit more, but guess what? That problem probably won't happen anywhere down the line for the next couple of miles, thousands, 20, 50,000 miles, right? So in your business, when you kind of take that same analogy and you apply it to your business, we're essentially kind of that solution-based agency where we just take a deeper dive into your business. Yes, you come to us with a surface level problem, right? Trust me, I have people come to us and like, hey, I need SEO. I'm like, why do you need SEO? Oh, my friend told me I need SEO.
Yep.
Guess what? If you went to a service-based business, they would have been like, okay, here's our SEO price, charge it up.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But if you come to us, it's like, okay, we're gonna challenge the thought of why do you need SEO?
Well, you think you need SEO.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there's different timing and planning. Like if you really want to do SEO, we have different strategies behind it, but before I can say, hey, here's what we can do on SEO, we need to understand what is your common goal? What is it that you're trying to offer? Like, what is it that you're trying to do, right? And a lot of times they might come to us like, hey, we need new business, we need new leads, we need blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, so for the price of what you would have paid us for SEO, how soon do you need the leads? And I'm like, well, we need them like ASAP, like soon. I'm like, okay, well, SEO is more of a long-term stretch,
Yeah, it takes a
right?
while.
It's like a crock pot. It takes time to build up your ranking and do all these things, right? Which means that you might not even get the results that you want if you're trying to get them sooner, right? So instead of you spending 3 months, 4 months, 5 months on SEO, how about this is our budget for SEO if you want to go this route. But if we take this and then we do a more expedited plan, then we can look at obviously creating an activation campaign of some sort, and that'll be a mixture of paid ads through social media with a landing page, and then now we're funneling everything through that, and then also having some email marketing and SMS text message marketing built into it. That might be cheaper than you paying 4 or 5 months just to get the same amount of leads or less, right? So that's what I mean by being a solution-based business, is that we take the time, and yes, it is going to cost a little bit more, but that's because we're giving you a solution that solves a bigger problem than just the surface level problem that you're thinking that you have in your business.
That's perfect, bro. That's amazing. Beautiful. Cut and print. So how does a person set the right prices? How does a person find it? Because you kind of helped me through that, but if you can explain to them, how do you help a person to set the right prices, or how can they just set the right prices straight from this video?
Yeah, so one approach that we take with our entrepreneurs, business owners, essentially that want to understand how much they should charge is we created a calculator. And the calculator actually goes into detail, right, about how much is your actual physical time worth, right? And I think as entrepreneurs, again, back to common mistakes, a lot of us don't understand how much our time is actually worth. And because we don't understand how much our time is worth, we don't charge enough to be able to compensate for our time, right? Now, in the calculator that we created, basically the way this works is, right, we would say, how much do you want to make in a year, right? And it would be, let's say, $100,000, right? And I'm just throwing out like hypothetical numbers, right? From that, the next question that we would ask would be, how many hours do you want to work? How many weeks do you want to work in a year, right? That in itself is also an indication, right? Because your company or business isn't going to be your life. You're going to need to sleep, you're going to need to eat, you're going to need to take a break, you're going to probably have a full-time job or a part-time job somewhere else to, subsidize your income in some way to fuel the business. You probably have kids, you probably have all these other things that you kind of have to think about, right? And then from that, let's say it's 52 weeks in a year. So let's say you only want to work 45 weeks, right? Or you want to take two months off, so that puts you at like 44.
How many months did you take off?
Huh?
He's in a position where he can go to, where'd you go?
Italy, London, Mexico.
Yeah,
I can take time off.
Yeah, he can take some time.
I plan it.
Yeah. And his business still sustains, and yeah, we had that talk, and this was the first time that you did that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then, you took what, 2 months?
Yeah, 2 months.
2 months away from the business, and it moved flawlessly. Amazing.
Still had clients coming in, still had new businesses, signing up for our services. And I had an amazing team that just supported everything. So
I love it.
So that's on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Right now we're on floor number 2, right?
Yep.
And we still got more floors to go up. But for that, we went through how much you want to make. We went through how many weeks do you want to work during the week. How many hours do you want to work during the week? Right, which also is important, right? If you only want to work 30 hours because that's all you can afford to give yourself during the week, it's important to know that. And then down to how much basically are you going to charge for a service, right? To basically meet your goal. So our calculator, once we put all this stuff in, essentially it will generate a number. It'll tell you how much how much is your hourly time worth, right? And trust me, this is mind-blowing to so many of our clients, because when you actually realize how much every hour of your time costs you, it will change your perspective on how you do business. Because now you'll be able to look at it and understand, like, well, if my hours, like for me, my calculated hour is worth over $1,000 per hour. So for every hour that I give to somebody based off of where I am in my business, how much I need to generate and how much time I want to take off and how much time, how many hours do I want to work, that is the time commitment that I don't get back, right? If I lose that time, then I'm losing that amount every single time in my business for that year.
So like just know in your head that a free consultation is actually costing him $1,000.
It is. It is.
Yep, that's crazy.
And for me, again, because I'm a giver naturally, like I have people that are paying me $1,000.
Yep.
And unfortunately, it's one of those things where I know it's crazy to some people, but it's a thing like, hey, who's gonna pay somebody $1,000 an hour, right? And realistically, if it's if it's as important in their business to solve a problem and they know that they can hire me to come into the business and dissect it and figure out a problem for them, how much is that worth to them, right? And part of that is also understanding that you also need to know how much is your client willing to spend, right?
Exactly.
That's a huge thing that you have to be able to analyze.
All of this has to align, the amount that you want to charge versus the amount that people want to spend versus also your competitors. How much are your competitors charging for the exact same thing that you're doing? Yeah, not a lot of people had a LinkedIn automation though, because you monopolize that portion. But yeah.
And the other thing too, I'll throw in there, right? If you think about it this way, right? If you understand how much your time costs, then you'll also understand that if you were to hire somebody at a fraction of the cost, hourly, you would free up your time.
How much margin? You can get the margin of time from hiring someone. That's amazing.
My first hire was a graphic designer. Now the reason being is because I'm a perfectionist at heart. So it would take me like 2 to 3 weeks to perfect like 4 or 5 different mock-up designs for a client. And I'm talking about I would not show anything to a client until I got to a place where I was 100% satisfied with something. My graphic designers right now can generate logos within 1 to 2 days. And I'm talking about multiple designs.
So in essence, you're saving a lot more money because of the amount of time that you would be spending doing it yourself. And then you're paying someone a fraction of the cost. That's amazing.
So,
do you know how?
What does that do to your business?
You know what that number is of what you're saving? 2 weeks to 2 to 3 weeks down to 1 to 2 days. That's whatever that is. I don't know how many hours.
We're talking. If we're talking about 2 weeks, that's 10 days.
Yeah.
They get it done in 2 days. I'm saving 8 days, which means that I open up the capacity for me to take on more projects as a company, which then also opens up more room for us to make more money, hire more people if we need to, if the work is obviously getting too much for our other designers, and then to continue to also build on other, tasks, projects, skill sets, investing in our staff so that they also are learning and getting other resources that they need. So all of that plays into a huge part, and all of that's a cost, right? Which somebody has to pay that cost. So it's either going to be you or it's going to be your customer.
Yep.
So why not make it where you understand your costs, and then now you understand your margins and how you can leverage that, right? If you should not be giving a discount if you're in the negative zeros, like in the negatives. Like at that point, it doesn't make sense, because unless that's going to be an opportunity that's going to turn into something more lucrative for you down the line.
So mistake number 5, underestimating the power of marketing or branding in marketing. So this, I mean, right here, we understand, but we want you to understand just in case you don't. So I'm gonna let Mr. Jean-Jules go into in depth and in detail on why you should not be underestimating the power that of the what we can provide for you, pretty much.
No, definitely. So for this particular chapter, I guess simply put, a lot of people, let's talk about brands, right? So,
because I did a rebrand, so I know wholeheartedly from 2017 I was childish. My logo was childish. You agree with it? You but now it has a more seasoned look to it. So yeah.
Yeah. The thing about branding, which I think a lot of people miss, is that when they see big brands, they think the big brand that they're seeing was that exact same big brand visually when they first started. And the thing about brands is that your brand will always evolve. If you look at McDonald's logo, there was an evolution there, right? If you look at the Amazon logo, there's an evolution there. If you look at the Apple logo, there was an evolution that happened in the brand, and the brand continues to evolve as they took on more clients and more, and started to understand who their true clients were, but also what is the message that they wanted to convey to the world whenever somebody saw that particular brand. And the other thing too is, you know, branding is colors, it's obviously what you see, it's obviously ties back down to your messaging and
the emotions
behind it. So all of that is part of branding. And there's a lot of clients that I have come across that just have a word mark, like, and it's just a lorem ipsum font, Arial font, and they kept it so basic that literally you can't tell whether it was a broccoli or cauliflower. Like it's just really difficult, right? Because you kind of look the same as everybody else. But when they built the brand, which basically encompasses, you know, having a logo, possibly a tagline, which I encourage you to have at some point, down to your color scheme, which also conveys different emotions, feelings, and then also depending on where you are nationally, if you're only focusing on the US or if you're focusing an international brand in different countries, right? Certain colors work in certain countries really well, and certain colors don't work in certain countries, especially if you're trying to convey certain things, right? In terms of warmness or safety or very like structured, then down to the shapes, right? One thing that's very unique in a lot of like my personal branded designs, which I don't think a lot of people realize or even know, is that I actually have a circle, I have a dot in every single one of my personal brands.
I didn't know that.
Which a lot of people don't realize. Like if you look at the WJJ Brands logo, there's 3 dots to form a W, and then obviously 2 different lines. If you look at my personal logo, which is Wendell Jean-Jules, there's a dot here. If you look at Linkotomy, there's a dot in Linkotomy.
Okay.
If you look at my wife's brand, which is Tolu Jean-Jules, she has a dot in hers. So there's a lot of like things that tie back to like the intentionality of things that a lot of people don't really notice. but
what
it's
is that though? What does the dot mean?
So my tagline for WJJ Brands is where we connect the dots.
Okay.
So everything that's built through the brand of WJJ Brands is connected through our dots.
That's dope. That's dope.
Which a lot of people will never know unless they know the story behind it. But for me, it's significant. Dope. But as people understand the evolution of my brands and the things that I invest in and the brands that I do build for my own personal brand, there's going to be that same level of consistency where you can't distinguish if it's mine or somebody else.
Yep, that's dope.
And that's the biggest thing about brands is you want to be able to be distinguishable, right? You want people to look at you and another brand and be like, nah, this is the fake one. This is the real one.
Yep.
Right? And that conception, that perception of it is so important. It's so key because that's how, again, you build brand repetition. You build essentially a dedicated follower group that actually be like, oh yeah, I can tell that's that brand. And every company, even down to our designers, I have different designers because every industry is different, but then I also understand that every client is different. There's different things that are going to resemble with them in design. So if I get a project that comes in, I know that, okay, this is your style of design, this is what your inspirations are, and these are the 1 to 2 designers that are on my team that essentially can design that. Which then that makes it so much easier because then guess what? We're producing at a high level where we know that we understand people's personal preferences and we're not just going to just give you something that's just for us, right?
Everybody.
But
you're not cookie cutter like you said earlier.
Exactly.
It's custom. You're customized. It's a customization portion where people get what they need and what they want rather than just what they want. So
exactly. Which is so important. In your brand. The same thing with you. You just did your whole rebrand. But guess what? Your whole rebrand is based off of you knowing where you're heading. Exactly. Right?
Exactly.
In your business, right? And not looking like the 2017 your own marketing company.
I just showing you I haven't even shown you the finished product. I got it done, but I'll show you. But yeah, just an understanding of I know where I'm going now. So you know. It was very important for me, and me preaching to people that what I could do. This brand identity is so important, and I didn't have the proper structure myself. Similar to what you said you were doing in the past, I know what needs to happen, and I know what I need to do, and you know, me and the team invested time into ourselves, so we're making it happen.
All right, we spent about an hour together walking through the first 5 mistakes coaching business owners make, and what you should do instead. Before we wrap up, I want to quickly cover the last 2 because they can quietly cap your growth if you're not careful. Mistake number 6, underinvesting in your business. A lot of coaches try to save their way to scale, delaying tools, marketing, or operational support. That starves your pipeline and keeps you stuck in the feast or famine. What to do instead? Invest intentionally where it counts. Lead generation, sales system, and delivery infrastructure. Even a modest, consistent budget in the right places compounds fast. Mistake number 7, underinvesting in yourself. Your business can't outgrow you if you're not sharpening your sales, leadership, and delivery skills, or getting the right mentorship. You become the bottleneck. So what to do instead? Commit to ongoing development, block time, and budget for coaching, courses, communities, and recovery. The return shows up in confidence, clarity, and cleaner execution. If you made it this far, I can tell you're someone who's serious about learning more and doing the work the right way. So I've got something for you. You can go and download a free copy of my book, 7 Common Mistakes All Coaching Business Owners Make and What to Do Instead. You'll get the full playbook, examples, and simple action, step by step, on how you can use it starting this week. So go grab your free copy at WendellJean-Jules.com. I'll also drop a link below. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Implement one of these ideas before the day ends, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace.